welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I'm doing that I'm so annoyed Booktube book tag. This tag was created by Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, and this has been making the rounds on Booktube lately. And it's just a really fun one with lots of discussions about things that you like or don't like on Booktube or in literature. So question number one is, do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? And the answer is sometimes. There's a couple of things that I don't like that publishers do. I don't know how annoyed I am all the time. I talked about this recently in the Feb Regency tag, where I said that just a lot of books, if a book is popular, then every book that comes out has a similar cover art. So that way people will now pick up this book that looks like the most popular Colleen Hoover book or things like that. And it might not even be the same genre. A lot of times it is. But it's one of those things where it's just like, I would prefer a little bit more originality in that. And it just feels like there's a lot of sameness in cover art and just in the publishing industry in general. It feels like there's a lot of uniformity and not as much uniqueness. I feel like it's really hard when people have a unique premise for their book or something like that. It feels like it's harder for them to get more notice for their book and more marketing for their book, because it seems like it's just, if this hasn't been popular before, it's not gonna get pushed. And I think that's really unfortunate. A lot of other people have mentioned, and I agree, when there's a book series and halfway through the book series, they decide they're gonna change the cover art or the spine art or the size of the book. So now all your books are mismatching and you have to go back and buy the older books you already had in the same kind of cover if you want them all to match. And I just think that that's really dumb. I don't usually buy a whole lot of brand new books or pre-order a whole lot of books, so this doesn't affect me quite as much. I have a lot of mismatched books and series, but if it's something that I purchased them thrifted or for a really low price, I don't allow myself to get annoyed by that. Question number two is, have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler? Even something as simple as someone telling you that there's a great twist. I don't really get annoyed when people tell me that a book has a twist. I guess I could see why people would get annoyed by that, because then they're looking for a twist that they might not have known was coming otherwise. I tell you what really, really annoys me is when the introduction to classic books or the back or inside flaps of classic books give spoilers in the description. It's like they're assuming that just because this book has been around for 100+ years, that means that it doesn't matter if you're spoiled for it. And I do not agree. I have not been around for 100+ years, and I have not read for 100+ years, so I haven't read all the books, okay? I remember so distinctly, I read Frankenstein for the first time, probably like 5-6 years ago, and I read the introduction and got spoiled for the ending that I didn't know was coming. And I was like, I'm never reading the introduction to a classic book ever again. So I don't read them at the beginning. I will read them at the end because it feels like there's historical and literary analysis that's really, really interesting in there. But they often contain spoilers, which is so silly. I feel like it should be an afterword instead of a foreword. Question number three is, have you ever been annoyed by what you discovered in a little free library, a book sale, or a used bookstore? Tell us what you found and why it was so annoying. I think the only thing I've seen that has been kind of annoying at a thrift store, and it's not even that annoying, it just means I'm probably not going to buy the book, is there's one thrift store that I've been to that for some reason half of like the front cover was cut off from a bunch of books. And I don't know why that happened. I don't know if that was to make it so you couldn't resell them or something like that. Like literally you could tell it was cut. And that was just kind of weird. So I don't know. That just means I didn't buy it. It didn't mean that I was annoyed by it. Question number four, when it comes to a short story collection, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection? No, I'm not really. I mean, I don't read a ton of short story collections anyway, and I guess I could see people if they're thinking this is all going to be very short stories and then there's a longer one in the middle, that they're annoyed by that. But to me, I usually prefer a novella to a short story anyway, because you get more time with the characters, you get more, just more. Which is why I don't read as much short stories. There are some authors that do short stories really well, but there's a lot of people that I just feel like I'm left wanting more. So in that case, I will take the novella because I'm getting more. Question number five, deckled edges, beautiful or annoying? Beautiful. I love deckled edges. I don't get the hate. Question number 6. Other people's annotations in a used book or library book. Annoying, or are you okay with it? Well, if it's a library book, they should not be annotating this book and writing in it. That would annoy me, because I would be like, it's kind of like when people dog ear library books. I'm like, dude, this book doesn't belong to you. Why are you doing that? And I would feel the same way if there was something written inside of library books. But when it comes to a used book, that doesn't really bother me. There are times, like, I had a copy of Candide that I read last year, and someone had used it for their college class, and there were post-its throughout with like chapter summaries, but I could just like not really even read those. I could just take them out because they were post-it notes, but there were notes all in the margins of stuff that they were trying to do for their class. And that was just kind of annoying because it wasn't even their thoughts. It was just like them trying to get a good grade. So, and it was pervasive. It was constant. It was on every single page all over the place. And it kind of distracted from reading the books. But when I am reading a book that someone else has owned and they have underlined or written something in the margins, if it's not pervasive like that, but it's things where they're like, basically, I thought this quote was really beautiful or meaningful, or I found out that this word associates with this somehow. Like, I love that. And I love it even more if it's from someone that I know. Last summer, I read Princess Bari, and it was a copy that belonged to my friend Dia from Novel Idea, and she had written her thoughts in the margins and underlined. And it made me so happy because it made me feel like I was reading the book with her, even though I read it like 4 months after she did. So that was kind of wonderful. So sometimes I love it and sometimes I don't. Question number 7. If there's a series or a collection of certain kinds of books, like an imprint, and changes are made, are you annoyed or okay with it? If yes, give us an example. So this is the same kind of thing that I talked about in question 1, right? Where if they totally change how it looks, I do think that's annoying because it feels like with them changing a series halfway through, instead of having like a creative difference where they're like, yes, we want to go in a new direction, it feels like a cash grab to me. It feels like we're going to change how this looks halfway through the series, so that way people want matching books and they'll go back and buy the previous 3 books that we did in this other art style, so that way they'll match the new ones. It feels like they're doing that to make more money, which is just that. I think that that's really, really annoying. Question number 8. Do the decisions of characters in a novel ever annoy you? Share the book and what decisions you found annoying. Oh boy, of course characters annoy me sometimes in books, and sometimes if the writing is really, really wonderful, I'm still going to enjoy my experience. And a great example of this is The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton, where her prose is perfection and it's beautiful and it's amazing. And I just love the way that she writes. But dang, did I think that a lot of the characters in that book were really annoying, particularly our main character, Archer, I think his name was. I think he was supposed to be being portrayed as kind of sympathetic, and I just thought he was a selfish twit. I felt way more sorry for the girl that he was in love with, or girls, I should say. So yeah, that's a really good example of characters that really annoyed me, and sometimes I can't get past that. A good example of that is Gone with the Wind, which I also read last year. I got 500 pages into that sucker, and I was like, this is not gonna get any better. And so I DNF'd it 500 pages in because I couldn't get past the characters in that one, even though I thought that the writing was good. So there are times where an annoying character doesn't make me hate the book, and there are times where it does. Question number 9. Are you ever annoyed by how someone organizes their books? What do you find annoying? Overall, I don't think it's annoying. I'll tell you something I don't understand. I don't know that I think it's annoying, because like, organize your books how you want to organize your books. Like, people would probably think that some of the ways I organize my books are weird, because behind me I have all my classics and these are alphabetically organized, and then I have my middle grade and those are alphabetically organized, and then in my room I have like fantasy and sci-fi separated by genre and not alphabetized. I just have like authors together. So like everybody has different ways of organizing, and if it works for you, great. But what I don't understand, why do people organize their shelves to where they have the pages sticking out instead of the spines? How do you find anything on your shelf when you do that? If you do that, please let me know in the comments why you have chosen to organize your shelves that way, and if it makes it prohibitive to you actually finding your books because you can't see what you own. So maybe there's a method to the madness in there that you can just randomly pick a book and you're like, I have to read the book I choose and I don't know what it's going to be until I take it off the shelf. Like maybe that is why. That's the only reason I can think of. I don't know. I also I would not be able to deal with rainbow shelves. I think they look really pretty, but I would never be able to find anything because the same authors and maybe even the same books in the same series would not be next to each other if the spines are different colors. And that would drive me bananas on my own shelves. But I think it looks really pretty on other people's shelves. So I wouldn't say that I'm ever truly annoyed by how other people organize their shelves, but sometimes I don't understand the thought process behind it. Question number 10 is share something bookish that you find annoying. So this is more of an attitude, I think. I don't know if that's what this question is talking about. I think you could categorize it anyway, but this is something that I find so obnoxious. So let's say I have read a book and I share my thoughts on my channel of my book, and someone else has a totally different interpretation of this book. I hated it, they loved it. And they come into my comments and they say, well, you just didn't get it. You didn't like it because you didn't get it. I hate that mentality. I think it makes people sound so pretentious and snobby. And it's like, it's okay for someone to not like a book. That doesn't mean they didn't get it. That just means that wasn't the book for them. That is why we have a plethora of different genres and different authors in different genres who all have different writing styles. Even authors within the same genre have different writing styles and different ways of constructing their story, their characters, their prose, and it's gonna work really well for some people and not well for other people. And just because someone has a different interpretation of a book or a different opinion on a book doesn't mean that they just didn't get it. You're completely invalidating someone else's opinion and trying to make yourself sound smarter by putting someone else down. And I think that that is so annoying. Also, breaking the spine of your book. I think that's really annoying too. Question number 11 is to tag some people, but you know what? I've seen about a bajillion people do this tag lately, so I'm not going to tag anyone because I feel like most people have done it or whatever. So if you are seeing this video and you haven't done it, please do it. I would love to see your answers. And also, if you don't have a channel, I always have the questions from the tag in the description of my video. So I'd love if there's any of these questions that are really interesting to you. I would love to hear your answers on those. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me. And I will see you again next time.